Can I still make calls and send texts with data roaming turned off?
Hello, viewers. Today, we're here to discuss a common concern that many of us have faced while traveling or managing our data usage. Can you still make calls and send texts with data roaming turned off? Stick around as we delve into this topic, exploring the workings of our mobile devices and the networks that keep us connected.
What is data roaming?
Before we jump into our main question, it's important to understand what data roaming is. Data roaming occurs when your mobile device uses a mobile network that is not owned by your service provider to send and receive data. This usually happens when you're traveling outside your service provider's coverage area, often in another country.
How is data roaming different from calling and texting?
Now that we understand data roaming, let's differentiate it from calling and texting. Data roaming relates specifically to internet data, things like browsing the web, checking your emails, using maps, or any other app that needs to connect to the internet. Calling and texting, on the other hand, do not necessarily use internet data. They are typically processed over the voice network of your carrier and not the data network. They rely on different parts of the cellular network than data does, which means that they're not always impacted by the same settings or restrictions.
Can you make calls and send texts with data roaming off?
Finally, let's tackle our main question. Can you still make calls and send texts with data roaming turned off? The answer is, yes, you can. Turning off data roaming only affects your phone's access to the internet over a cellular network while you're abroad. You can still make calls and send texts because these functions typically don't require internet access. However, it's worth mentioning that if you're using services like WhatsApp, iMessage, or VoIP for calls and messages, these require data and thus will be affected by turning off data roaming. In this case, you could still use these services when connected to Wi-Fi. We hope this discussion has helped clear up any confusion you might have had. The world of mobile networks can be complex, but the key takeaway here is that turning off data roaming won't stop you from making calls or sending text messages, as long as you're not using data-dependent apps. Remember, whenever you're uncertain about a setting or feature on your device, it's always a good idea to reach out to your service provider for clarification. Thanks for watching, and safe travels.